food processing in the province of Ontario, to build on the $34 billion that the agri-food sector contributes to Ontario's GDP, 740,000 jobs in that sector, and I look forward to working with the member from Halton for even more jobs in this sector, Mr. Speaker.
Question? The member from Leeds Grenville.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Good morning. My question through you is to the Minister of Energy. Good morning, Minister. Every day, multinational companies in my riding and across the province crunch numbers to compare the cost of operating in Ontario to other jurisdictions. Good-paying jobs that built our province and support communities like Brockville hang in the balance of these calculations. And with our industrial electricity costs among the highest in North America, Ontario's competitive advantage has disappeared along with those jobs. But there is a solution to lower our energy costs and retain our manufacturing base. Can you tell the manufacturing workers still employed in my riding who are worried about their future why you stubbornly refuse to import cheap green hydropower from Quebec?
Minister of Energy.
First of all, Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the question.
More nukes.
The member will remember our budget that we introduced in May, in which we reintroduced and hopefully will be finished today. There is an expanded program, the Industrial Electricity Incentive Program, Mr. Speaker, which actually uses our surplus energy to incent new businesses to establish here in Ontario and expand existing businesses. Mr. Speaker, that gives them in excess of a 25% reduction on their industrial electricity rates in the province of Ontario. We've already done a number of these programs, Mr. Speaker, and it's been taken up 100%. We're expanding the program, Mr. Speaker, and it is creating jobs. It's creating jobs in Eastern Ontario and every other part of the province, particularly in Northern Ontario, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, back to the Minister. Minister, the infrastructure exists for us to get this cheap power. You know that because you already use it to pay Quebec to take our expensive excess wind power. A lack of wires here isn't the problem. It's you clinging to a failed ideology. Put away your comments about your programs and let's deal with what's happening in the real world. Jobs are vanishing. And I fear there's worse news to come for our economy and in my riding if you continue to do nothing about these increased rates. Meanwhile, manufacturers in Quebec enjoy electricity prices 55% lower than ours. When is the light bulb going to come on over there? How many more manufacturing jobs do we have to lose? Put away your failed plans and start negotiating with Quebec.
Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the member might know that Ontario and Quebec are already significant electricity trading partners. In fact, Mr. Speaker, Ontario can import power from Quebec when it is cost-effective to do so, and the member should also know that Quebec has the need for Ontario power. In fact, this January, Mr. Speaker, over a period of 4 or 5 days, Quebec did not have enough power to serve its own population, and they were importing some of our surplus power, Mr. Speaker. They have electric heating across the province, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the member should know, and he's not listening, Mr. Speaker. The member is not listening, Mr. Speaker. He should know that our long-term energy plan has a provision in it that requires us to start discussions with Manitoba and Quebec with respect to more energy trading. He should also know, Mr. Speaker, it takes significantly more infrastructure in terms of transmission and interties at significant costs to make it happen. Mr. Speaker, we're very, very responsible on this issue.
Thank you. Your question, the member from London West.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Labour. Yesterday, the Minister told reporters that unpaid internships do not exist in Ontario, and he is not sure if this is a growing problem. Speaker, the thousands of young people in this province who are asked to work for free after they graduate know that unpaid internships exist, and the thousands of Ontarians who agree that this government needs to take action know that the problem has increased since the recession. Speaker, how can the minister deal with an issue when he refuses to acknowledge that it exists?
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to the member for this important question again. Let me be very, very clear. What we are saying in the province of Ontario, that is, if you perform work for somebody else in the province of Ontario, they derive a benefit from that work, you're entitled to get paid under the Employment Standards Act. What I would have said, Speaker, is that unpaid internships are illegal. There's no such thing as an unpaid internship. What there is a job in the province of Ontario that you're entitled to receive pay for. You get coverage under the Employment Standards Act as much as anybody else in the province of Ontario. We've been out on a blitz on this. We respond to phone calls. We respond to anonymous tips. If there's anybody in the province of Ontario right now that is performing work and is not being paid, please contact the Ministry of Labour. We will enforce the Act. We will ensure that these people get the coverage they deserve and need.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Speaker, there are estimates that as many as 100,000 people are working as unpaid interns in Ontario. There are too many employers who are ignoring their obligations under the Employment Standards Act or are not aware of them. There are too many unpaid interns who are desperate for any kind of work experience and are fearful of lodging a complaint. Speaker, unpaid internships are ethically wrong and they are bad for the economy. Will the minister commit to amending the Employment Standards Act to prevent the exploitation of unpaid internships?
Minister.
Speaker, thank you again for the supplementary question. On average, the Ministry of Labour receives about 18,000 employment standards claims per year, and we act on each and every one of them.
Good.
We do the investigation. We ensure that everybody in the province of Ontario that is performing work for somebody else and that person is receiving a benefit from that work, that person is covered under the Employment Standards Act. We had a blitz that started April the 1st of this year. It was a 10-week blitz. It ended in the middle of June, Speaker. We expect to have the results of that available very, very shortly. We'll be acting on that as well. But during all proactive inspections that are done in workplaces in the province of Ontario today, the issue of illegal unpaid internships is raised and investigated. It's something we're very proactive on, something we're very concerned upon, and I am quite happy to work with the member on the private member's bill to ensure that whatever coverage we can give to these young people is given.
Any question? The member from Kingston and the Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Associate Minister of Health and Long-Term Care with responsibility for long-term care and wellness. There's no better time than the summer to go outside, to get active, and to stay fit. And since healthy kids grow up to be healthy adults, it's especially important for young Ontarians to put that video game controller or shut the computer down and get outdoors. I have 2 teenagers and know only too well how difficult it is to motivate our children to make the right choices for their health. Yet thousands of Ontarians try to do just that every day, whether it's parents taking their kids to the beach or volunteers at a summer camp. My question for the Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, is what is our government doing to help parents and communities keep kids active and healthy?
Thank you. The Associate Minister of Long-Term Care and Health responsible for wellness.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to begin by thanking the member from Kingston and the Islands for her question. And like you, I also have a teenage daughter, and I'm very, concerned and motivated to ensure she grows up to be having healthy habits. But, Speaker, the fact is that the habits that we get in our childhood are the ones that endure. So if we want our children to grow up to be healthy kids, we have to give them a healthy start. And that's one reason our government has focused so much on our youth and on our school children. One such fund that we have that we are continuing to invest in is the Healthy Communities Fund. This fund was established in 2009 to support grassroots, locally driven wellness initiatives. The fund helps communities plan and deliver programs that improve the health of Ontarians, particularly high-risk and underserved population, with a special focus on our youth. One example is Motivate Canada's Activate Ontario Youth Initiative. This project trains young leaders to play an active role in improving physical activity, self-esteem, and youth leadership.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you, Minister. Speaker, this sounds like exactly the initiative that will encourage kids to stay physically active, There is nothing quite like being physically active when it comes to increasing confidence and engaging our youth in their communities. I am proud to represent a university town where there are many young leaders who are looking for work in their community. So I know that young people in my riding would be interested to know more about initiatives like this. I know that many parents like myself and yourself realize that reaching out to young people and getting our youth involved can sometimes be easier said than done. Could the Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, tell this House how these initiatives are reaching out to young people?
Question. Thank you. Minister.
Thank you, Speaker. And again, the member for Kingston Islands asks a very pertinent question. I'm pleased to tell her and this House that the initiatives supported through our Healthy Communities Fund have been remarkably successful at engaging our youth and young Ontarians, and indeed, in fact, people of all ages. Since 2009, the fund has provided almost $14 million to 81 organizations to deliver health and wellness projects. More than 300,000 Ontarians have benefited from these initiatives. To give you another example, the Fédération de la Jeunesse Franco-Ontarienne Youth Healthy Living Initiative is reaching out to young Franco-Ontarians to provide education and resources to help them make better choices about healthy eating and active living. And 80 cities doable neighborhood projects are small-scale interventions to improve the health of our young, and we will continue to invest in this.
Thank you. Question, the Leader of Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Premier. Premier, your government keeps pushing through a proposal in my riding to build 8 500-foot tall wind turbines that will be as tall as the TD Tower here in Toronto on the flight path of the Collingwood Regional Airport and on the flight path of the Clearview Airport, despite opposition from surrounding municipalities and despite safety warnings from the airport boards and pilots. Airport Board Chair, Collingwood Airport Board Chair and Engineer Charlie Tatum has told provincial officials that the location of the turbines pose a lethal danger. The situation is serious in light of the crash that occurred in North Carolina where 4 people were killed hitting a wind turbine near the airport. If this project goes ahead, it won't be a question of if there will be deaths, it will be a question of when those deaths occur. So, Premier, I ask you again, is it still your plan to allow this project to go ahead, despite vast opposition from the community and the dangers that it will create?
Premier.
Speaker, I thank the member for the question, and it is a serious issue and a serious consideration. But the member will know that under an existing contract, we cannot simply unilaterally cancel that contract, Mr. Speaker. It has a lot of repercussions to do so, Mr. Speaker. We do have a process, Mr. Speaker. I will refer the supplementary to the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. But there are federal regulations as well, Mr. Speaker, that deal with airports. They are in play here, Mr. Speaker. We already know that in at least one other circumstance, the federal government has required the moving of the turbines because of safety concerns, Mr. Speaker. There is a process for that, and I will refer that to the Minister of the Environment, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Well, just say to the Minister, but my question is really to the Premier, and I'll address her in a moment. But Minister, this airport isn't registered the same way. Neither airport, Clearview one isn't either, Collingwood isn't, same way as Chatham. So there are no rules. This goes back to when Chris Bentley, when he said to me there were all kinds of rules and federal regulations and that. And I said, no, do your homework. And I guess nobody in your department's doing their homework, because the fact of the matter is, there's no rules because nobody thought a government would be so stupid as to put 500-foot wind turbines on flight paths to airports. The Premier, you appeared in the riding just before you became a Liberal leader. During your leadership campaign, you were interviewed and you said 3 things. The green energy project should not be allowed to move ahead in face of community opposition, that an airport shut down because of wind turbines doesn't make sense, and you committed to review the situation at the Collingwood Airport.
Question.
It's been a year and a half since you made that commitment. What's happened with the review? We've certainly heard nothing.
Minister of Energy. Minister of the Environment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. If the member was a little less confrontational and had a little more humility for his party, we could get this resolved. Mr. Speaker, this should be and is